One.
Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday and it is 11 o'clock, and you have found Unity of Joplin. You may be new here. I'm not sure who all is on. If you are new here, we're glad you're here. And if you are a seasoned vet with Unity of Joplin, we're glad you're here as well. So it is time for our social media check-in before we get into this. And the social media check-in today is I believe in magic at Unity of Joplin. Those of you that are Facebook friends with me might have seen the other day I posted a little cartoon that says what's going to happen, or what's the possibility in the new year, and it said 365 days of opportunity. So we have 365 days of magical opportunity days available. A little less now because we're on the 3rd. But join us if you would now after you've done the social media check-in, whether that's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever your social media is. And once you've done that, join us for our gathering song with John and Jerry. It should be beautiful, Pure Imagination.
Imagination, take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. You'll find in your mind there's a world of endless fascination. More fun place to be than in your imagination. You can dream any dream. You can savor every situation. Life in there's a sensational sensation. If you want to view magic lands, close your eyes and you will see one. Wanna be a dreamer, be one. Anytime you please, and please save me one. There is no place I go to compare with my imagination. So go there to be free if you truly wish to be.
You know, I read that in that movie that those children had never seen the chocolate room, and that is why they had the wonder in their eyes when they walked in during the Willy Wonka movie. And I wonder what it would be like if we all walked into every day like that, with that kind of amazement. So let's see, our celebration team this morning is John, Jerry and Gary. You heard John sing and Jerry play just then. And then Michael does our sound and text. So thank you, Michael. In the chat box, our trustee of the day is Billy Phelps. If you have any questions, comments, anything that you'd like to have more information about, Billy will be able to help you in the chat box. And then I am your master of ceremonies. My name is Neely Myers. Alyssa is going to do our meditation today, and Reverend Gordon Kyler will do the lesson. So thank you all on the service team for being with us this morning. We will talk about in a little more depth our formal offering a little bit later, but for now, if you would like to go to the donate button on our website, I'm sure there will be a link in the chat box. Thanks to Billy for that. And you may donate anytime during the service. You may also text give to the number on the screen. If you can't see that, it's 833-368-0897. So again, you may do that anytime during the service, or you can wait until later when we talk about it. We do have a few announcements. First of all, tomorrow is Silent Unity. That is the first Monday of every month, and that will happen at 12:15. Is that on Facebook, Gordon? Yeah, on Facebook. Okay. I wanted to make sure
Yes,
that
it'll be
someone,
on Facebook, yeah.
okay, I wanted to make sure that someone didn't need a Zoom link for that. But you may just join on the Facebook page for that. There's also a class coming up, an overview of Hebrew scriptures that starts in just a couple of Thursdays on the 18th and will be at 6:30 in the evenings. So contact Gordon if you would like to sign up for that course or get more information. And let's see, I think that's it for the announcements. If you would like a little bit of fellowship, you may stay online for a bit after the service today, and folks will be online to chat with you and just have a conversation, a nice way to spend some time on a Sunday. So Michael, if you would now read for us our daily word.
Okay, today's daily word is transforming power. I have the power within me to change my life and to call forth the good I desire. People have always been intrigued with the idea of a genie lamp or a magic wand or a magic word that would bring instant response when invoked. We may not realize that we have the power within us to change the circumstances of our lives and to call forth the good we desire. Our outer circumstances are shaped and colored by our inner thoughts and feelings. This realization gives us the formula to a happy, fulfilled life. It is an easy formula to apply. For it is simply to see the good in everyone and everything. When we actually do this, we look beyond the appearance to the underlying good, to the truth. Our world seems to be transformed before our very eyes. We invoke the law of increase by praising everything in our life, by being grateful for health and happiness. Boy, I'm sorry, my word program is not cooperating. It won't scroll so I can see the rest. I have the power within me to change my life and to call forth the good I desire.
Thank you, Michael. Real quick, before we move on, I wanted to make sure I said on Thursdays for the course. I'm so used to the courses being on Thursdays, but January 18th is a Monday. That course will be on Monday evenings at 6:30. So I do apologize for that. But still, contact Gordon if you'd like more information or want to sign up.
That is just beautiful. Thank you, Gary. I love that song, A New Star. It makes me think of, yes, we believe in magic. And as we prepare for our meditation, let us just sway in our seats and get comfortable. Breathing into the wonder of it all. You can keep your eyes open, you can close them. But we're going to move into a space of creative thinking, using our imagination, because we're going to breathing into the center of our brain, between our ears and our eyes, and we're going to flood this area with the light of color, with a burst of wonder, and the palette of spiritual imagination. For it is in every breath we take, in every breath we release, we float in the infinite sky, in the infinite wonder of possibility. And this, nothing can weigh us down. Nothing can inhibit our free expression of our divine imagination, the place of wonder, the place where magic thrives. And we soar in this infinite space where all things are possible. Divine imagination. Today, let it be your spiritual name, your true nature. You are a creator by your inherent divine design. And as the creator, you reach beyond assumptions and limitations, and you dream of magnificent possibilities by the power of just conception. When you catch that marvelous idea of what the power can be, of what it can do, and what it can experience, you revel in its appeal. You revel in that it is your idea that is unique and expressing possibility. For this, you recognize that idea of possibility is your fulfillment that you have longed for. Your peace, your comfort, and your presence. And as this marvelous idea figures its way out in vision and purpose, like a seed that we plant in this new year in 2021, that we ground and we water and we nurture it through power and vision, we see it fully blossom now. While the seed remains in the deep womb of possibility, the roots have grown deep and the branches reach out to the sky. You are the spiritual power of wonder, of imagination. And as you claim all of that into your divine identity, calling forth your rightful divine capacity, you feel it pouring forth to the fulfillment of your purpose. You have the eyes to see the good within you. You have the eyes to see the good around you. You have the eyes to see the good path ahead. For whatever seemed impossible, it is by this power of wonder that you can declare all things are possible I believe in magic. So be it, in the name and the nature of the living, loving Christ. Amen.
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable stars.
Thank you, Gary, and Jerry, and John, and Michael, and Alyssa, and all of you who have made this service, and Neely, and put this service together. Here we are, our first Sunday service in 2021, and the first day of a new year, a year in which we affirm things will be better than they were last year. We moved from one year to the other on New Year's at noon, where we released everything we needed to get rid of from our lives, from our consciousness, from our experiences, anything we did not wish to bring forward into this new year. And if you missed that ceremony, it's available right here on Facebook. You can go and watch it and participate in it in the leisure of your home after this service. So we've done that. We've done work. We have prepared the way for a new year, a new experience, and rebuilding our lives. But there's a component that we have to consider to have good show up in the coming year. We've done so much work to prepare, but we have to use our fifth unity principle. And our fifth unity principle is, of course, action. Ask yourself, what actions am I going to take this year to build a new and better life? How am I going to create a better year? You know, it's not simply enough to hope and pray and visualize and speak. Those are all good and necessary things. But we have to act. We have to do something. And all too often, we don't know how to do that. And to be clear, I am not here today to tell you what to do or specifically what steps to take to build a new and better year for yourself. I cannot do that. It's not mine to do at all, because each of us walks our own journey. Each of us has our own way of seeing and being and showing up in the world. And what works for me most certainly would not work for you. But there are specific tools and principles that each and every human being has that we can use to create our world, and we do use them to create our world. These tools are found in a toolbox in Unity that we call metaphysics. And they are the same tools that the Buddha taught, that Jesus taught us how to use, and that others down through the ages updated to the technology and the terminology and the science of their days. Charles Fillmore, Ernest Holmes, Eric Butterworth, so many others. These are spiritual tools, not religious tools. And because they are spiritual tools, they are at the same time scientific. You know, a lot of people, we see, especially in our culture today, there's this struggle, it seems like, between science and religion, almost on a level we haven't seen since the end of the Middle Ages. And yet, every great spiritual teacher was teaching science. In fact, what used to be Christian science or Buddhist science or metaphysics, we now call today quantum theory, quantum physics, and quantum mechanics. They're all the same thing. I think some of the challenge we have today, though, is that if we try to study modern science with quantum physics and quantum technology, we get tangled up in the terminology. It's difficult to understand unless we have a PhD in physics sometimes. But if we stop and realize that the terminology that scientists and physicists use today is just modern terminology for ancient terms, it becomes more understandable. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at these tools, these practices that Jesus and the others brought to us in terminology we can understand. And the best place to begin is at the beginning. We just celebrated Christmas. And Christmas traditionally in the West is all about the birth of one man, Jesus. And that story is found in 2 of the 4 canon Gospels, Matthew and Luke. It is the story of the birth of a baby, but it is also the story of the culmination of the creative process emerging as one individual person in history. We know that Jesus metaphysically represents the Christ potential within each and every one of us. Jesus was the fulfillment of God's idea for what humanity can be. Jesus was the model, the teacher, the way shower, the one who showed us how to use these tools. But there's something more important here. Jesus is the Christ, and Jesus modeled the Christ that is in each and every human being. Jesus was the what? The Christ is the how. And the how is found in the Gospel of John. In the original Gospels in the Greek, before they were translated into Latin and on into English and other languages, the order of the Gospels was different than it is today. If I were to ask any of you what the 4 Gospels are, you would say Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in that order. But originally they were placed in a different order. It was John first, then Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And that represented a progression from a Christ energy to a human manifestation. In fact, the very first chapter of the Gospel of John is entitled, "The Word Became Flesh." Right there we see a progression. We see the Word, Christ, something that is not human, something that is not formed, something that is not bound and limited in any way, coming through a human being. Let me read to you how the Gospel of John begins. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all humankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it. Well, who is that him that they talk about? Many denominations translate that him as being Jesus. But it wasn't. It was the Christ. It was the Christ, not the man, but it was the energy of God that came forth through a human being. It is the energy of God residing in Jesus, Buddha, you, me, every human being. And what is that Christ? It's an energy. It's light. It's a wavelength. You know, scientists say that the physical world is one large energy field that flashes in and out of being millions of times a second, over and over and over again. And that everything in all of creation is a wave and a particle, a wave of energy that becomes a manifest object and then goes back to being a wave of energy again. In fact, it's both at the same moment. But here's an interesting question. What creates the form that that wave of energy takes? What determines that that wave of energy become a star or a planet or a tree or you, me? What holds that form as it cycles back and forth between those two states of being? The clue, spiritually, is in the very first sentence of John. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word is what gives form to the wave. Yes, the wave and the Word are the same thing. They are both God. They are two aspects of God. In the original Greek, the word that is used is Elohim. Elohim. God. But it's not God, an old guy with a beard. It's God as the energy of creation, energetic vibration, pure potential. We say in Unity all the time that God is omnipotent and God is omnipresent. That means that God is all energy. And that energy is everywhere present. In you, in me, in rocks and trees and stars and gases, everywhere present. So let's get a clearer understanding of what we're saying here. Let's look at the original book of John, the original first chapter of John in the original Greek. Now I'm going to translate it into English because I can't speak the original Greek. But this is more of a direct translation. In the beginning was Creator, and the Creator was with Elohim. So right here we see that the Creator is two things. It is energy and it is intelligence. It is God mind. And so we see that manifestation comes out of that, and it comes into form as a union between energy and intelligence, between God energy and God mind. They are one and the same. And yet, without the two halves, without the two pieces, neither one exists except in potential. Energy and form cannot exist apart from one another. I know this is all very academic and very heady, but what it tells us that this same process that created the entire universe in the beginning, that brought forth the Christ through a human being named Jesus, is in everybody and in everything, and is available to use right now, right here, to co-create a world that works for all, to co-create a world that works for us. Why is it important we know this? It is because we need to know that thoughts are what put together and hold together this ever-present energy field in which we live, move, and have our being, and create the experiences that we have. You may very well ask that, well, Gordon, if all this quantum physics stuff is true, then why do I see a person instead of flashing clusters of energy? Well, it helps to think of it as a movie reel. If you think about a movie reel, A movie is a collection of 24 frames a second, and each frame is separated by a gap. However, because of the speed at which those frames move through across the lens, our eyes get tricked into thinking that we see a continuous moving picture. Or you can think of it like a television. A TV tube is simply a tube with heaps of electrons hitting the screen in a certain way, creating the illusion of form and motion. And that's really what all objects, all manifest creation is an illusion of form and motion. Each of us has 5 physical senses: sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. And each of these senses operate within a specific spectrum. For an example, a dog hears a different range of sound than we do. A snake sees a different spectrum of light than we do, and so on. And so if our set of senses perceive the sea of energy from a certain limited range, and we create our image of creation from that, we have to then understand and accept that our vision, our viewpoint, our understanding is not complete, and it is not entirely accurate. It's an interpretation of what we behold. The good news about that is that all of our interpretations are solely based on the internal map of reality that we have, and not on real truth. And our map is a result of our personal life, our collective experiences. Our thoughts are linked to this invisible energy, and they determine what that energy forms for us. Your thoughts literally shift the universe on a particle by particle basis to create your physical experience. Look around you. Take a look around you. Everything you see started as an idea that grew as it was shared and expressed, until it grew enough into a physical object through a number of steps. The truth is, each and every one of us literally becomes what we think about most. Our lives become what we have imagined and believed in most. The world is our mirror. It enables us to experience in the physical plane what we hold as our truth until we change it. And that's what Jesus taught. That's what the Buddha taught. That's what spirituality does. It gives us the tools to change our very realities. Quantum physics shows us that the world is not the hard and unchangeable thing it may appear to be. Instead, it's very fluid, and it's continuously built up using our individual consciousness and collective thoughts. It's like a magic trick. Think about this. Think about our Unity teachings on healing and how Myrtle Fillmore manifested her healing, and so many others since then. What's really happened? What did they really do? Well, imagine this. What is your body made of? Your body consists of 9 systems: the circulatory, digestive, endocrine, muscular, nervous, reproductive, respiratory, skeleton, and urinary. And what are those made up of? They are made up of tissues and organs. And what are those tissues and organs made up of? Cells. What are your cells made up of? Molecules. What are molecules made up of? Atoms. And what are atoms made up of? Subatomic particles. And what are subatomic particles made up? Energy. They are energy. You and I are pure energy. We are light in its most beautiful and intelligent configuration, energy that is constantly changing beneath the surface. And it's all controlled by our consciousness. If we could see ourselves under a powerful electron microscope and conduct experiments on that, we would see that we are made up of clusters of ever-changing energy in the form of electrons, neutrons, and protons, and so on. And this is the level the magic happens at. This is where the magic happens. The magic happens when we understand that, as the Buddha say, it's all illusion. But it wasn't just the Buddha who said that. That's a universal statement. We can find it in the Jewish scriptures, where it says, that which I fear has come upon me in Job. That which I hold in my consciousness has manifested. Think about Job's experience. He sat there day after day after day worrying about, oh, I'm a good person, but look at my kids. Oh my God, my kids. They had to have been teenagers. Look at what they're doing. And surely their sins will be visited upon me. And guess what? They were. Why? Not because God was mad at Job's kids. Because Job held the consciousness, he held the vibrational energy that created the form of the results of his kids' actions, which really had nothing to do with him. Think about what Paul said. I am made whole by the renewing of my mind. We could change that to say, I am made whole by the changing of my consciousness as I renew my thinking and come into a new way of understanding, a new grasp of these truth principles. I am made whole as I come into the grasp of the teachings of Jesus. I am made whole. Not just a belief in a man that lived 2,000 years ago, but as a real understanding of what he taught. In Proverbs, it says, as a person thinks in their heart, so are they. The consciousness I hold in here determines what I am. And I can change that consciousness. You see, an object does not exist independently of its observer. And so if God is omnipresence, that means that God is in all things, and all things are in fact one in God. All things. You are one in God. I am one in God. And we are constantly cooperating with that energy field of God in creating our reality. That's where free will comes in. That's what free will is. Free will is we create the reality we choose to create. So as you can see, our attention to something, our intention, our observation literally creates our reality. Our worlds are made of mind, body, and spirit. And each of those three, mind, body, and spirit, has a function that is unique to it and is not shared with the other. What I see with my eyes, what you see with your eyes, what I experience with my body, what you experience with your body, is the physical world. And the body is an effect created by a cause, and that cause is thought. The body cannot create. It can only experience and be experienced. That is its unique function. And that is, I think, one of the things that has created a world where there's so much turmoil and chaos right now is we have become, especially in the West, in the developed world, we have become people who believe that we create our world physically with our bodies. And we've forgotten that we create with consciousness. And so what we have done is created a very limited world, a world that cannot function well because it is so limited. Now, it gets more interesting, though. We have thoughts, but thoughts cannot experience. Thoughts can make up, they can create, they can interpret, but they cannot experience. We need a world of relativity, the physical world, to have experience. So you begin to see how all of this fits together, comes together. And then there is spirit. Spirit is really all there is. It is that which gives life to thought and body. The body has no power to create, although it gives the illusion of power to do so. And this illusion then is that cause of frustration. The key to all of this, to all of this information is, how do we learn to see the universe differently so that we can manifest the world we truly desire, the experiences we truly desire? We do that by seeing it right, by seeing it as God sees it. That's how we do the magic. We begin to look through the eyes of God. which are not limited by a physical being. They are free and infinite and omnipresent and omniscient. To create a new and more perfect way, then, we have to learn to see as God sees and think as God thinks. There's a quote that I love that was by Richard Bach in his book Illusions, and it says this: "Imagine the universe beautiful and just and perfect. And then be sure of one thing." I'm going to paraphrase a little bit right here. God has imagined it quite a bit better than you have. God sees perfection. God sees wholeness. God sees beauty. God sees peace and love and all those things that we desire. And it all begins in mind. Illusion begins in the mind. Magic begins in the mind. Have you ever thought about that word magic? What is magic? I looked it up. You know me, I love words. I looked it up, and it comes from the late 14th century, and the definition was the art of influencing or predicting events and producing marvels using natural forces. Did you hear that last part? Using natural forces. The word came from the Greek magik, which was the feminine of magikos, which means to magical. And it also refers to the magus. And the magus was one of the members of the learned or priestly class. Who were those? Who were the magicians? Everybody was the magician. Scientifically, to the ancient people, magic was the manipulation of natural forces. What did Jesus do? He manipulated the natural forces through consciousness, healing, bringing about healing, awakening, multiplying. What did Charles Fillmore do? What did Myrtle Fillmore do? What did the Buddha do? What do we all do all the time? We use natural forces. We do it every day, blindly. But the series that we're going to be embarking on this year is learning how to use this awake, with understanding, to co-create that world with God that we all want. We are the magicians. You are the magician. You use magic all of the time. A great magician said this: all magic is about transformation. The performance magician is really only there for one purpose: to remind you that you are the magician in your own life. You are the agent of transformation, your own transformation. You are made whole by the renewing of your mind. So Happy New Year. Let's go do some magic this year. Namaste.
Oh, thank you, Gordon. That was a fantastic way to kick off our year together on this first Sunday of 2021. And like you, I think for a while I'm going to be writing checks and saying writing 2020 on checks and saying 2020 and correcting myself real quickly. We talked earlier about the sharing of our gifts, and if you haven't already done so, you may still do so at the donate button or in the link in the chat. Or you can text give to the number on the screen. Or if you like good old-fashioned checks, remember to write 2021, not 2020 on there, but you may send a check to Unity of Joplin at P.O. Box 1207 right here in Joplin, Missouri, 64802. And my phone went to sleep. There we go. So if you would, since we have already done our gifts, if you would mentally hold your gifts in your hand with me and say, in a universe overflowing with the allness of God, all of the needs of Unity of Joplin and those we serve are bountifully met. From every direction, known and unknown, expected and unexpected, our abundant good is here now. Thank you, God. And then if you would dedicate with me as well, these tithes and offerings are dedicated to the will and work of Spirit through unity of Joplin for the highest good of all. And earlier, I welcomed our visitors. If you are finding us either live or later in a recording, welcome to Unity of Joplin. Welcome to our Sunday morning service. We do hope you'll choose to join us again. And you won't need to hurry off after the service. If you want to stick around, there will be folks still in the Zoom room for you to chat with. So one of the my favorite parts of the service, because I've got one of our only kiddos in the congregation currently, we hold the space for growth in 2021, is the children's blessing. But it's not just about the actual physical children, it's about the children that live in each of us. The other day we were, after the snow, we were out driving and I saw some ice on a fence and I saw it through the eyes of my 9-year-old son. And so we jumped out and we kicked the ice off the fence. And so I think it's important to keep that child alive in all of us. So if you would bless the children in the congregation as well as the children in yourselves with me. Children, you are a perfect child of God, and God and I love you just the way you are. And since it is the first Sunday of January, do we have any January birthdays? I know that we do. We have, let's see, Steve Weldon, Ayla, Jerry Ellen. Who am I forgetting? Who else has January birthdays? Well, let's just sing happy birthday to all the
Shayna has a birthday.
Shayna? Yes, Shayna, that's right. Shayna has a January birthday. All right. Are we going to sing the song today? Yep. Okay, fantastic. Sing with me the Unity birthday song. You know what? I'll unmute. I'll keep myself unmuted. I don't have a fantastic voice, but that's okay. It's the happy birthday song. Do we have music or are we just singing? There it goes.
Happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday
you.
to
Happy
you.
birthday
Happy
to
birthday
you.
to you.
Happy birthday, dear Unity. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you. You are wonderful. God is blessing you now.
Love it. And let's just keep that music going.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, we are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God
God surrounds us. The love of God
enfolds us.
us.
The power of God
Power of God protects us.
The presence
And
of
the
God
presence of God watches over us.
wherever we are.
God
God
is,
and
and
all
is
is well.
well.
Amen. Happy New Year, everybody.